Hello everyone and welcome back to another roster review. Before I start, I'd first like to say I'm adding thumbnails now, so if you guys want to just jump ahead and skip to certain points in the video, go ahead and do that. Also guys, don't forget to give me a like if you liked it, and if it sucked, give me a dislike and put in the comments, tell me what's wrong with it. This helps out the algorithm for a smaller YouTuber like myself. Anyways, let's get into this. My friend Castiel. He uses different names, but he's asked to be called this one. This is also what he uses in Discord. So he is 18 million TCP. Doing pretty good. He's not the #1 war MVP on my channel, but he's doing better than those guys that had won. You know who you are. All-time arena rank? Doing good, sir. Keep that up. I don't know what you're at right now, but I've never made it one. Alright, and first off we have... Alright, well this is already the best roster. Alright, drop mic. We're done. So long, assholes. You're probably asking yourself right now, why was Nico happy 10 seconds ago and now he's frowning? Well, there's a very good reason for that. It has nothing to do with the roster. So ironically, after I said drop mic, I unplugged my mic. I recorded myself for about 6 minutes before I was like, what is this cable doing on my fat lap? And I saw it was unplugged. So I kind of laughed it off. Whatever. Plugged it back in. Recorded the next 18 minutes. And as I sat down just now to edit the video, there's no sound. A little annoyed because now I gotta do it again. Alrighty, well that'll make it extra more delicious when this is finished. Unfortunately though, one of the things I pride myself in doing is I do a cursory glance of the rosters when I first receive them, but I don't really look deep into them until I'm filming. That way I can do a live reaction. So I'm not going to stage anything. I'm just going to explain to you the things that I found here. So aside from the obviously epic Captain Marvel that should be G16'd with ISO 4, this is pretty standard for what you would see in any endgame player's roster. There were a few things that I noted, and after talking to Castiel, I don't know how to pronounce that name by the way. After talking to him, it made sense. It made a lot of sense. So I mean, you guys see Spider-Man up here, but then you notice that his two other web warriors, the ones that usually are the priorities, are quite a bit lower. Then the teal gear, that's what caught my eye. I mean, there's basically two schools of thought. One is that take all city because the first 6 nodes you can use just city. The other school of thought is, well, I'll get there when I get there, and I'm just going to use the ones that I use every day anyway. Well, at some point I've seen all of these characters G16, but I haven't seen all of them together, if that makes any sense. I mean, he's got 4 of his Weapon X. Symbiote Spider-Man, a lot of people, I don't know, I've heard mixed things. Some people have regret, they have buy regret. Other people are like, he's still really good in Dark Dimension. Deathpool is an awesome character, it's just that there's Cersei and Icarus are considered more essential. Sabretooth is really cheap, same as Wolverine. And so I actually took a little break. Oh, he's got Icarus too. I took a little break from recording I guess it was the second failed attempt. And I talked to my friend here, and he explained to me a few things. First off, maybe some of you noticed, I didn't. This isn't Club Red, this is Club RED. So like the awesome movie, Retired but Extremely Dangerous. Don't misunderstand that Retired thinking that they don't take the game serious. They still do, and I'm noticing that all his characters he's chosen here are meta, except for a few that we'll see in a second. So it just, they want a slower pace of the game, that's basically it. So talking to him, he told me, he's like, hey, I'll get Dark Dimension done when I get it done. If I get it done next month, that's fine. If I get it done in a year, that's fine. And you know what? If he wants to play like that, that's fine too. We all have different goals in the game, and that's important to keep in mind, that not all of us are striving to, you know, be the top whatever to complete Dark Dimension 5. Anyway, none of them are bad choices. A little inefficient in the order if the priority was to complete Dark Dimension 5 as quickly as possible, but that wasn't the case. So we don't need to worry about that. The next thing is that currently right now they're doing Doom 2.0, which explains why they don't have this big web warriors built up. He's still running mostly symbiotes, I'm guessing. But they're getting close to a 2.1 push, which will be good. I mean, given your roster, I feel like it wouldn't take much for you to be able to do 2.3 consistently. But, you know, you got your other alliance mates you got to consider. So if you're noticing, the majority of his characters, I mean, he's got symbiotes, but most of them are war or arena characters that he has built up. He's also got JJ and of course his delicious Captain Marvel. He's working on A-Force. for the Scourge event. Working on his Young Avengers, he told me as well. So the first thing that I wouldn't call this a red flag, but I'm like, oh, okay, he's got Captain America built up to G15, right? Maybe he brought him in Dark Dimension 4. A lot of people were. And I scroll down and I'm like, oh, he brought his Hawkeye. Oh, not G15 Hulk, but he's still pretty built up. And I'm thinking like, well, maybe he's got the G15 Black Widow. Maybe it's his favorite team. I don't know. I know in Dark Dimension 4, it was possible to use Wave 1 Avengers. And people were doing it because it was like bio, skill, and then Thor is Mystic. So, I mean, just those three alone made it feasible. Plus, she was really cheap. So, I don't know. I mean, aside from that, I noticed that your Black Widow is bigger than your Maria Hill. If you're doing Doom 2.0, that's probably more than enough to get through the nodes. Yeah, you're going to have to build her up a little bit. But yeah, aside from that, I mean, this is what I'm attributing their gear levels to, that you were building them up to use through Dark Dimension. Maybe they were your favorite team. That's what, hey, you got to do what you got to do. Aside from that, I don't really see anything that's bad here. I love your 7 reds, by the way. 7 red Beast, 7 red Ms. Marvel. Delicious. Ultimus, this is the third time I've pointed this out because I have to keep re-editing. How is that working for you? I'm actually really curious. I was a big fan of Ultimus when he got the 5 red, like from Dark Dimension 4, was it? Yeah, I was a really big fan of him. He doesn't really stack up with current meta right now. I feel like he's just they could just make a couple more Kree and then give Korath a rework, and then all of a sudden we got something going, right? That would be really interesting to see in the game. But I'm curious how that's working for you. Just let me know later on. And you also had a 7 red Omega Red. So you're doing pretty good on red stars. So this was the other thing I noticed here. That, I mean, you got Cersei and Icarus built up. And just the way that this game kind of worked out, if you have Cersei and Icarus, and you probably don't need Cloak and Dagger as much as, you know, the other players did. It's just that Cloak and Dagger came up first, so a lot of it's built them up. And then Cersei and Icarus came up. Now, when I first started, I was doing Doom 2.2 or 2.3, I don't remember. I had Cloak and Dagger. I actually found that once I put Cersei and Icarus, I started to do worse. It took a little bit to figure it out and get it going again. And I was just stubborn, and because I spent money on them, I wanted to keep practicing with them. But I really thought that I was doing better when I had Silver and Maw. So what I'm saying here, I mean, Cloak is a really good character. We're both 7 red brothers, by the way, on Cloak. It's a little remiss that you haven't built them up. Now, these days, there's a lot of Mystic characters, and if you haven't already built them up, I can see that kind of being non-important for you. He's really good in Dark Dimension 5, I will have to say that. And, I mean, like, I get lots of good use out of him. He's good in Cosmic Crucible. He's great in War. I use him in the raids. Like, so, yeah, I'd really like to see you work on your Cloak. And Yo-Yo is probably going to be important for the Scourge event, so I would advise you to work on her a little bit. That's another thing that I apologize because I've already gone over this in previous failed videos. But I noticed that your Jubilee and your Adam Warlock aren't at 7 yellow yet. They've been in the game long enough that I think you could easily do it. You're going to need Jubilee at 7 yellow at some point as you progress through the Doom raids. The mutants are just, they're a pain. I got alliance mates that have like all 6 red, 7 red, all maxed out ISOs, maxed out T4s, and they still fail because there's a lot of RNG and stuff. So you're just going to need every little bit of extra gumption that you can get. Adam Warlock, yeah, Infinity Wallet isn't as important as it used to be, but they're still really good in Cosmic Crucible. They're still a really good war team. You can use them in the raids. So I would advise you to finish that off. Coming back to here, I would also like to see you favoriting Moondragon and farming her. For the same reason that it's still a good team. It's like how 6 months ago, I'd still tell people, hey, you know, don't forget your Black Order, right? They're not the meta, but they're still a good team. I wouldn't say that so much nowadays, but this is still a great team. There's nothing wrong with this team. And you can still use it to counter other teams. So yeah, please work on her for your sake. 7 red Mantis. Hope she gets a rework. 7 red Wallen is still pretty good. He has mentioned to me that he's working on his Web Warriors, so you are going to see some more love in it. I think that the combination of the Gambit raids and the Scourge event has also taken away the priority for him to do that. So don't worry, he will work on that. Oh, poor Echo. I know she's so hard to farm, right? He's also facing a Bio Crunch. This is just what I've gleaned, because I like to see you build up your Spider-Woman. It's unfortunate with the A-Force that they're lacking something. You can tell it. It's obvious. but you need all 4 of them like built up to really get good use out of them. All right, well, 6 red on Magic. She's also farmable as well. I'd also like to see you farming her. I do need to point this out that my friend here was telling me that what he's trying to do right now, his priority is war, because he's trying to beat somebody for damage in his alliance. So that's awesome. I love it when I hear competition stories like that. Uncanny X-Men, I use them to punch up like 300-400k against web warriors on defense. It's pretty sweet. I don't know what else they're good for. That's the only one I do it for. But all I did was I took all of them to G14 and I just left them there. I think my Phoenix is G15 and the rest are just G14, and I do these big punch-ups. So yeah, I get that there's a lot of mutant characters, but I don't think you're working on unlimited X-Men, so you probably do have you could be doing a little bit of mutant gear and top her up there, get her to G14, get the rest of them to G14, and just walk away. It's good value there. And yeah, I noticed you're not using Dark Hunter. I don't know if there's a specific reason for that. Personally, I suck with Dark Hunter. I'm not going to say they suck. I suck with them. So that might be the case for you, where you have a situation like that where you just don't see them being used. But I mean, they're still a good war offense team. You can use them against Heroes for Hire and Young Avengers. That'll definitely help you beat out your buddy there. And even if you don't need to max these guys out. If you get them to a good point where we still see like, 500k Young Avengers on defense, and if you got like a 500k Dark Hunters to throw at them, good. Your alliance will love it because now they don't have to punch down with their 900k Dark Hunters. So just something to keep in mind, right? You don't always need to max out teams to get good value out of them. Okay, so I noticed this, that you built up your Morgan Le Fay, which, good job. I like to see that. And you built up your Doctor Strange. And you have your Scarlet Witch built up. Now, she's usually considered the least important on the team. It's usually Morgan Le Fay and Agatha that are the priority. Then there's disagreements whether it's Doctor Strange the Third or Wong the Third. But Scarlet's usually the one who gets left behind. So why I'm pointing this out is because I'd really like to see you give some love to Agatha. If you look at her kit, if you look at her alt, it's devastating. It's actually really, really good. Like, I dare say it's almost as good as a Legendary's alt. Like, it's just a really good alt. It'll help you in Arena, it'll help you in War, help you in Cosmic Crucible. That's definitely a Mystic character that you should be prioritizing. So I'd like to see you work on Agatha. Space Black Panther, I mean, you're just shy of 4 stars. He hits really hard, and you can get some good use out of him in certain game modes. If they make him farmable, I like to see you working on him. But for now, I mean, it is what it is. Before we get to Nico, oh yeah, that's right. So Castiel. I should have asked you how to pronounce that name. Even filmed this 3 times, I still didn't ask. I remember he messages me all excited with his 7 red gambit, and I'm like, oh sweet dude, like have positive thoughts for me, okay? And he's like, yeah man. And then I pulled, and yeah, so we're 7 red gambit brothers, and we're 7 red cloak brothers. That's pretty sweet. I'm guessing you have orbs you haven't opened. That's what I'm figuring here. But like, and I'm guessing that you're not overly concerned about building up this team, which is fine. It's a Cosmic Crucible team. I can see that. I'm thinking that maybe because you didn't get any red swords on Nico that you don't want to pull, you don't want to build her up. She's basically the closest thing that they have to a healer on that team. I know it's really inconsistent with the randomness and such, right? But like, if you're building up your A-Force, you got to build up Nico. At least take her to G14. You're going to be using her in the Scourge event as well. Hopefully they'll give us a 5th. It'll make a big difference. But I don't think that maybe you're going to put the 3 other ladies with Black Bolt and Yo-Yo. That's a possibility. But then you literally have 0 healing. So that's something to keep in mind. She even has a revive feature. And I mean, it's clutch. It's random, but it could come in handy. So yeah, I definitely want to see you working on your Nico. Overall, your alliance is very fitting for you. Retired, but extremely dangerous. This is not, I gave up on the game and I don't care what I do account. I can see that you're still focusing on meta and you're still playing the game every day and you're still having fun. So good for you. I really don't have any like, oh dude, you screwed up kind of things to point out here. It's a good solid roster. To recap, I want you to work on your Nico. When he's farmable, please work on Space Black Panther. Give some love to your Agatha Harkness. Don't neglect your Dark Hunters. And they're going to get a 5th too one day. Magic can get topped up. You'll see a big difference in War. Spider-Woman. Cloak when you get extra Mystic gear after Agatha. And take your Captain Marvel to G16. But anyways, guys, thank you very much for watching. So this is the roster that I've done the most time reviewing since I have to keep refilming. I hope you all had fun. I certainly did. I'll catch you guys on my stream next time. So yeah, guys, have a good night.